You know, for as long as we've been able to look up at the stars, we've been searching for a kind of cosmic code, a single key that could unlock all of reality's biggest mysteries. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into that search, and into one very specific number that has captivated thinkers for centuries: 19.
It's a really powerful idea, isn't it? The thought that this huge, complex, messy cosmos could somehow be simplified, that its entire blueprint could be boiled down to a single concept, or, hey, maybe even a single number.
And trust me, this is not some new obsession. It's a quest that has hooked thinkers for thousands of years. You had ancient philosophers who sought in geometry, and you have modern scientists, like Albert Einstein, who spent his entire life hunting for a unified theory of everything, one single law to rule them all. He never quite found it, but that search, well, it definitely continues.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with that historical search for a cosmic secret and explore why numbers are so seductive. Then, we're going to tackle the modern riddle of the number 19. And finally, we'll pivot to a really powerful solution, one that's found not in complexity, but in the beautiful simplicity of the number 1. So this human drive for meaning, it's not just about asking big, vague philosophical questions. For a lot of people, it's been a very literal quest to find a hidden pattern, a secret ratio, or maybe that one magic number that just explains everything. And for so many brilliant minds throughout history, numbers seemed like the perfect key. I mean, think about it. They're pure, they're universal, and they seem to pop up everywhere in nature. It's no wonder this led to a deep, deep fascination with their hidden, almost mystical meanings.
Let's kick things off with the ancient Greeks. The Pythagoreans, who are followers of the famous mathematician Pythagoras, they were absolutely convinced they'd found the answer. And for them, the secret to the entire cosmos was the number 10.
And look, this wasn't just some random guess. They saw these profound patterns that connected us, our bodies, to the world of mathematics. For instance, we have 10 fingers. Simple enough, right? But then, get this, the first 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they add up perfectly to 10. To the Pythagoreans, that wasn't a coincidence. No way. It was a sign of cosmic perfection. They literally swore oaths by it.
And the Pythagoreans? They were just the beginning. Over the centuries, the search kept going. In the 10th century, a group called the Ikhwan al-Safa found special meaning in 3s, 4s, and 5s. Then later on, medieval thinkers became known as the lovers of 7. And fast forward to the 20th century, and the focus shifted again, this time to our number, 19. The number changes, but the quest, that stays the same.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that next big group, the lovers of 7. They believed this number was absolutely everywhere, like a divine signature written into scripture, into nature, into everything.
And you can totally see why they were so convinced. In the Quran, they found references to 7 heavens and 7 earths. You've got the story of 7 fat cows and 7 lean ones, and 7 green ears of corn. Even in religious practice, there are 7 points of prostration and prayer. And then in biology, a baby can be born healthy at a minimum of 7 months. To them, the evidence just seemed overwhelming.
And that brings us right to the focus of our explainer, the riddle of 19. Now, this isn't some ancient theory. It's a much more modern fascination, and believe me, it has sparked a ton of debate.
So where on earth did this all come from? Well, the entire theory hangs on this one single verse from the Quran. It's describing the guardians over the fires of hell, and it says, simply, over it are 19. From just those 4 words, an entire numerical theory of the universe was born.
Different groups took this idea and just ran with it. The Baha'i faith, for example, sanctified the number 19, structuring their whole calendar around it, with 19 months, each with 19 days. Then, much later, in the 20th century, a computer scientist named Rashad Khalifa claimed he discovered a super intricate mathematical code in the Quran, all based on this number. He pointed out things like the opening phrase, Bismillah, has exactly 19 letters, and that the Quran's 114 chapters is a perfect multiple of 19. But here's the twist. Dr. Mostafa Mahmoud, the thinker whose work we're exploring today, he dismisses all of this. He calls these theories flights of fancy, basically arguing that people are just being seduced by the allure of finding patterns in numbers. And this really highlights 2 totally different paths. On one side, you have speculative philosophy, confidently saying, hey, the answer is 7, or 10, or 19.
And on the other side, you have rigorous science, which uses these precise equations, but, like Einstein, humbly admits it hasn't found that one single governing law. At the end of the day, both paths have kind of failed to find that one key.
So what if the answer isn't in these complex patterns like 7 or 10 or 19? What if everyone has been looking in the wrong place? What if the real secret is hiding in plain sight, in the profound simplicity of the number 1?
The solution being proposed here is radically simple. Just think about it for a second. Mathematically, philosophically, the number 1 is the origin of everything. You repeat it, you get 2, you relate it to itself in different ways, and you create all other numbers, all the way up to infinity. And in the end, any complex system can always be resolved back to its fundamental unit, 1. It's the source and it's the destination.
Now, this idea is the absolute core of the Islamic worldview, and it has a name, Tawhid, which means oneness. It's all captured in that famous phrase, La ilaha illallah, which translates to, there is no God but God. This is so much more than a statement about numbers. It's a complete philosophy saying that the origin, the reality, and the ultimate purpose of everything in existence is simply one.
Okay, so this is where we shift gears. We're moving away from the cosmic and the abstract to something that's deeply personal and practical. Because this concept of oneness, well, it's believed to be more than just a theory about the universe. It's actually a tool that can fundamentally change your life.
That phrase, La ilaha illallah, isn't just described as a declaration of faith. It's called a word of liberation. Liberation, but from what? Well, from the chaos and the fear of a life that's being pulled in a million different directions at once. The transformation is said to be profound. Think about a scattered soul. This is someone living in a state of constant distraction and anxiety, torn apart by all these different fears. Fear of what people think, fear of poverty, of getting sick, of death. But a unified soul, on the other hand, focuses all of its hope and all of its fear on just one single source. This shift doesn't add a new fear, it gets rid of all the others, and it replaces that chaos with courage, with tranquility, and a clear, single purpose.
And these are the tangible results, the strengths that come from this. We're talking about freedom from the fear of what other people can do to you. Freedom even from the fear of death itself. It gives you a clear direction, an inner peace that doesn't depend on what's happening outside, and, maybe most importantly, an unshakable courage. There is a final metaphor that just captures this so beautifully. The scattered self, all those little anxieties, all those hopes, all those fears, is collected and threaded together, just like loose beads being strung onto a single, strong thread. The fragments finally become whole. The chaos becomes a calm, unified self. So we'll end with this question for you to think about. After this whole journey through history, looking for a secret code in complicated numbers, we're left to wonder, is the universe's ultimate secret really hidden out there in its external complexity? Or is it actually found in the internal simplicity and the incredible transformative power of oneness?